If you're about to close on your house and you're super excited, you got the contractors lined up, you're ready to go in and make some major upgrades to your house, I want you to watch this video first. This video, I'm going to share with you the 10 worst upgrades that you can do to your house. And I scoured the internet researching this, and this list is based off upgrades that do not have a good return on investment, or otherwise known as ROI. So before you bring the contractor in, you start knocking down walls after you close, watch this. Let's get started. Before I get into this list, I just want to put it out there that I understand there are some things on this list that people are going to get a little bent out of shape about it because they really like these certain upgrades. I'm not here to tell you don't do it at all. I'm here to educate you, to tell you what to expect as far as a return on investment. And some of these things just they don't have a good return. But if you want to put these features in your home, these upgrades, go for it. If that's how you want your house to be, then do it. Do it. One of these upgrades I have in my house, I put it in several years ago and I still love it. So I'll get into that in a little bit. So let's dive into this list right now. Okay, the number one worst upgrade you can do is install wall-to-wall carpeting. I know a lot of people love carpeting because they feel that a hardwood floor or tiled floors is very cold and just they don't like it. Okay, I understand that. But did you know that carpeting could actually lower a home's value by about 3.6%? Uh-huh. Meanwhile, hardwood floors boost a home value by about 2.5%. According to the National Association of Realtors 2022 Remodeling Impact Report, the highest percentage of a cost recovered on the interior of a home was refinishing hardwood floors and installing hardwood floors. Refinishing hardwood floors gives a return of 147%. Installing hardwood floors gives you a return of 118%. So if you spend $20,000 installing hardwood floors, you can expect a return of $23,600 on that. Hardwood will beat out carpeting any day of the week. The other thing about carpeting is over time, you get stains on it, allergens build up, there's dust built up. No matter how much you clean it, and you can have them professionally cleaned, they just get kind of gross over time, right? They get worn down and they just don't look good. And then you're going to end up replacing it again down the road. Hardwood floors are the way to go. I'm just putting that out there. And those of you that are carpet lovers, again, if you want to put carpeting in your bedrooms, whatever, that's what makes you comfortable, then so be it. But just be aware, it could potentially hurt your home value because buyers are going to look at that down the road when you go to sell it. And all they're going to see is, I want to rip this carpeting out. It's going to cost me money. Number two, worst upgrade, building a backyard patio and outdoor fire features. Okay, this is one of the things that I have in my house I put in several years ago. I put in this really nice paver patio with a built-in fire pit. I love it, but your return on investment on that is going to be about 55%. Now, for those of you who want to put in a paver patio, look, it is a beautiful feature. Don't go crazy in making it way too big because a lot of people these days do like to have some type of usable yard. So just keep that in mind when you're planning this out. I'm not saying don't put your paver patio in, but just remember, it doesn't add that much value to the home. Outdoor fire features can be great for entertaining and it can add character to a home. But again, this is another feature that's not going to add that much value to your home. Now, according to that same report from the National Association of Realtors, the Remodeling Impact Report, a dry stacked fire feature with gas burners and a small flagstone patio, that cost was averaging about $9,000, but you're only going to recover about $5,000 from that. So just keep that in mind. I'm not saying never do it, but just don't put this in hoping that it's going to add all this value to your house because it's not. The number three worst upgrade, adding a swimming pool. Yeah. Now let's cue all the people who live in the southern climates that are going to now come into comments to rip my head off because I'm telling you that adding swimming pool is the worst upgrade, and everybody in southern climates are saying, no, we have to absolutely have a pool. Yes, you do. I agree with you on that one. I do. But I'm talking about the whole country, okay? There are people that live in the northern climates, colder climates, that they only get to use their pool for, say, 4 or 5 months out of the year. So it's really not a great investment. And you know what? It only boosts the home value about 7%. It doesn't add that much value to a home. Now, people think that having a pool is, let me put a pool in. I have all the space in my backyard. I want to add value and make my house worth more. There are people that have that thought. But that's the wrong thought to have. If you're going to put a pool in, it's for your purpose, for you to use, to enjoy with your family. But now keep in mind, those of us in the northern climates, like I said, you're only using these from, like, say, May till September. So in that period, you're dumping all this money to maintain the pool, to have it cleaned, right? If you hire a pool service, they got to come in every week to clean it and manage the chemicals and all that stuff. So it does get expensive. And let's not forget about the homeowners insurance, right? And you're paying all this in homeowners insurance to only utilize this pool, 4 or 5 months out of the year. This is why it doesn't add value. But again, those of you in the southern climates, I get it. You need it. That's fine. I understand that. But there are people that live in other parts of the country that's not in warmer climates, and they can only enjoy this in the summer months. So this is why I'm saying this. And every list that I have searched on the internet, adding a pool was always on top of their list, because it does not add that much value. There, I said it. Let's move on. Okay, number 4, we have high maintenance landscaping. And what am I referring to? I'm talking about like really fancy exotic plants. I'm also referring to ponds, such as koi ponds, fountains. If you're into the outdoors and you want to add these things, that's fine. These do not add a tremendous amount of value, because why? They're high maintenance, right? And not everybody wants to be dealing with taking care of fish, right? I've shown houses where we've seen these koi ponds, and they're very cool, but what do my buyers think? They're like, oh, I don't know how to take care of koi fish. I don't know if I want to take that on. I don't know if I want that responsibility. And what are they thinking in their heads? I'll have to get rid of the fish somehow and do something with this pond. So just keep that in mind for future resale. If you're putting this in for your own enjoyment, that's one thing. But if you're thinking, oh, people are going to love this if I put this little pond in, down the road when I go to sell it, I think not. It's only going to appeal to a very small group of buyers. Not everyone's going to love that. But if you feel the need, you want to have fish in your backyard, then go for it. But don't do it for the purpose of thinking it's adding all this value to your house. Number 5, converting a garage into living space. This trend has been going on a lot. And I understand that there is a need for extra space, especially if you have multi-generational living going on, where, say, your parents are moving in with you. You need that space. People will convert the garage. Okay, fine. But again, we're going back to the return on investment. People think converting a garage is adding extra living space to their house, which makes the house more valuable. Not when you're converting a garage. Studies have shown that most homeowners will spend between $6,000 upwards towards $27,000 converting a garage into some type of living space. But your return on investment, you may get 50% of that back. Why? Because people value a garage. They want a place to park their cars, and they want a place to store things, and that's what garages are used for. So down the road, people may find that less appealing. Case in point, 3 years ago, I sold a house to a couple. The garage in this house was converted to another bedroom, because I believe the sellers had family that would come and stay with them, which was, understandable. But now there's no place to park their cars. They still ended up buying the home, but now they had to put a detached garage, because P.S., the town requires every house to have a garage, at least a one-car garage. So now they had to go through this process to get a one-car garage, detached garage, put on the property. So that kind of hurt the sale price for the sellers. It did. These sellers were asking a pretty penny for that house. And you know what? My buyers didn't pay a pretty penny for it because of the cost of adding that garage in. So just keep this in mind. If you have to convert it to accommodate living space, if you have family living with you, that is fine. But this is not a good way to add square footage, the hopes of it's going to, increase the value of the home. It's not, because people value garages. Hey, if you're still in the market, you're looking to buy a home, or if you're considering selling a home and you need to be connected to a real estate agent in your market, please scan this QR code or fill out that link down below. Fill out the form and I will get back to you with an agent in your market. Moving on to number 6, let's talk about sunrooms. Now, a lot of people like to add a sunroom, right? They want to have a covered porch, be able to enjoy the outside, even if it's raining out or if it's too hot out. People like to add sunrooms, which these are very popular down south. I get it, but this will only yield you a 48% return on investment. And these sunrooms can cost you quite a bit. Now, you could potentially spend $5,000 upwards towards over $100,000. Some people go all out on these sunrooms, which, okay, that's fine if that's what you want to do. But keep in mind, you're not going to get a great return on that. And another thing I want to mention is that people think that this is another alternative to adding square footage, living space to their home without putting on a full-blown addition. But I have news for you. That square footage in the sunroom will not be counted towards the total square footage in the house. It just won't be. An appraiser is going to look at the structure, the home itself. A sunroom is something that's attached to it. They're not going to include that on the square footage. So if you think you're going to be adding living space square footage by adding in a sunroom, think again. The only way you're going to be able to add the square footage is by actually putting on an addition on the home. So again, this is another one I would rethink, being that it only has a return on investment of about 48%, and you can't count that square footage in that sunroom as actual living space. Yeah, it doesn't really make it a really great upgrade to your home. Number 7, believe it or not, I was shocked when I saw this on several lists. Remodeling a home office. Look, 5 years ago, home offices were super important because we had a lot of people working remotely. Now, not so much. A lot of people are going back into the office and they don't need that home office anymore. Some studies have shown that homeowners were spending upwards towards like $30,000 remodeling their home office, adding all of these great features, putting in built-in bookshelves, all the things. That's great. And if you do work from home, that's your thing, absolutely go for it. But your return on investment is only going to be about 45%. A lot of people these days aren't really into the home office thing. What I would do, if you have an extra space that could be used as an office, don't go crazy adding all of these features like putting built-in shelves and all of that fancy stuff, because people want to be able to envision using that room maybe for something else. You want to keep that space flexible, okay? That somebody can go in there and use that room for whatever they want. Number 8, this worst upgrade. Yeah, this is a good one. Installing a gourmet kitchen. Okay, now if you love to cook, if you are a cook by trade, a chef by trade, and you need to have these high-end appliances in your home, okay, I get that. I understand it. But people feel that they have to do all of these fancy high-end upgrades in a kitchen, thinking it's going to boost their value exponentially, and they're going to make so much money on the sale of the house down the road. Now, you're not. So adding all of those lavish finishes to high-end appliances, you're looking at a return on investment of about 59%. That's it. You're not going to get everything back on that. People will overspend on the big fancy refrigerators, the stoves, putting in these deep, like massive sinks. Look, you don't have to go crazy on your kitchen upgrade. Look, I understand if you're moving to a house, you definitely need a new kitchen. Fine, do it. I would say definitely update it, but don't go crazy on the upgrades. You're not going to recoup that money. But again, if this is something that you want in your house that you will enjoy, absolutely go for it. But you're not going to be getting a tremendous amount of money on the return of that investment. Number 9, worst upgrade. Adding a master suite. This one showed up on several lists. And the reason being is that this is probably one of the most expensive things that you can add onto your house. Average cost of adding a master suite, you're looking at about $136,000. And you're only going to recoup about 50% of that. I know. Like, what? Only 50%? Yes. Now, if you're in a situation where you do need the space, you have to add it on. Okay, that's fine. Now, what I'm talking about specifically with adding a master suite is, say you have a house, you have, say, a colonial, and you have attached garage, but there's nothing above that garage. What a lot of people like to do is extend over the garage and add a master suite. Again, I'm not telling you don't do it. If you want to do it because you need the space, that's absolutely fine. But don't get this thought in your head that I'm adding $136,000 to my house because I put in this master suite. You're not going to get that back. You're not, because it does change the look of the exterior of the home too. My piece of advice is hire a good architect to help design this and make sure that the exterior of the home looks very appealing, and it kind of goes with the styles of the other homes in the neighborhood. I've seen homes like this where they've added the master suite and they look awkward. They do from the outside. Like the home just kind of looks strange and just doesn't flow. Hire a good architect before you do that. Okay. Just want to make sure that the house has great curb appeal from the outside as well. Okay. Number 10, worst upgrade. You ready for this one? Remodeling a bathroom.
Come on. What?
I know, crazy, but it is true. Did you know a mid-range remodel on a bathroom, it's only going to give you a return of 35%? Yep. And if you go with more luxury features in that bathroom, you're looking at a return of about 33%. So listen, I understand you got to redo your bathroom. I redid mine several years ago. It needed to be done. I had, a 1978 bathroom that my kids were using, and it was just I couldn't deal with it anymore. The counters were really super low. My kids were breaking their backs just to go brush their teeth. So I had to go and renovate this bathroom, which is fine. The important thing I'm telling you here is do not go crazy on the fixtures and on all these different features. Like people want to add in like heated floors. I don't think that's necessary. Don't feel like you have to do all these fancy features to increase the value. If you just do a simple renovation, changing out the vanity and countertop, new toilet, new floor, if you need a new tub, you want to redo all the tile in the shower, that's all you need to do. And don't go crazy spending all this money on fancy marble tile either. I don't recommend that. 6 years ago, I renovated my kids' bathroom. Like I said, it ran us about $16,000. That was 6 years ago. We're now, with the rise in costs, probably looking at more over $20,000 for that same renovation. I know it sounds like a lot, but the more luxury items you add into these bathrooms, you are not going to get that back. There's not a very good return on investment there. So just keep that in mind. The key takeaways here. First and foremost, again, I want to reiterate, I am not telling you to not do any of these upgrades. This is to help you understand what your return on investment is. So when you're deciding to make these upgrades to your house, look around the neighborhoods, like look at the other homes and see what other people are doing to their homes, right? You don't want to over improve. You don't want to make this house look like the big, shiny, fancy house on the block and you stand out like a sore thumb. You don't want to make your house look like it doesn't belong there. It's just a little too much, right? And when you're making these upgrades, keep in mind for future resale. My buyers ask me this all the time. What do you think? Do you think this is good if we do this upgrade? Do you think this is good if I do this? Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to tell you, but we want to appeal to the future buyer. I'm not saying you can't, if you want to add something and upgrade your home to something that you want to enjoy, go for it. But always keep in mind for future resale. This is the point of this video. That's why I'm telling you all of this. So just because a lot of people get these upgrades in their head thinking, I'm going to make all this money when I sell this house down the road, when in essence, you're not. And if you do have a low ROI project that's appealing to you and you want to do it, go for it. I still have my patio with my fire pit. I love it. I know I'm not going to get a lot of money off of what we invested on that, but I don't care. I love using it. So go for it. Go for it if that's what you feel you want to have in your house. Just whatever you want to do. If it's low ROI, who cares? Go for it. So tell me, what upgrades were you surprised? And be nice to me. Be nice. I'm just sharing data and information, but I want to hear from you. What upgrades did you put in your house? Or are you thinking about putting in? Were you surprised about what's on this list? Comment below. I want to hear about it. And I want to remind you, if you are still in the process of looking for a new home and you want to know what the 10 deal breakers are that are found in home inspections, you can look at this video right here. It's a lot of good information there. Thank you so much for watching me today to get your dose of real estate reality. My name is Jackie Baker, and I will see you next time.